Okay.
Wow.
So.
Let's start through the park here.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. I'm just loving our life here.
Yeah.
So let's go this way and we'll get to the road quicker.
Okay. It's Amanda.
On my new bike.
On your new bike. In Amsterdam, your new city. Amanda, it's great to have you back on the channel.
Great to see you, John.
Were we going right or left?
Let's go left.
Okay, we're going left. Woohoo.
What does this make? The 13th wheelchair we've seen today?
Yeah. Okay, so pulling back here, yes, you have a new bike. A new bike.
The cheapest used bike you can find in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Just the kind of bike you want.
Yeah. And it's a classic old Gazelle.
Oh God, it
Yes.
drives like a dream.
Yes, sitting nice and upright and happy.
Yeah.
So what are you doing here in Amsterdam?
Well, my husband got transferred and it was an opportunity that we couldn't pass up. We kind of asked for it. If your husband's company has an office in Amsterdam, then you ask to get a transfer.
Yeah.
And I think the question since we first thought of this idea was, what am I going to do while we're here?
Yeah.
But I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be commuting back to Dallas where all my clients are. So
Right.
just going to figure this out.
Yeah.
But I can't stop nerding out on all the urbanism. So there's gonna be a podcast or YouTube channel or something that comes out of this experience.
Boom, you heard it here, folks. She's gonna be a content creator. No, super excited.
I just can't even help it.
Yeah, no, super excited for you and looking forward to learning more about that. And
with your tutelage, it'll be amazing.
Boom, there you go. We're gonna have fun with it for sure. But yeah, I mean, this is like Disneyland for urbanism, for urbanists. It's pretty amazing.
I just want to sit and people watch all day long.
All day long.
This morning, seeing two 8-year-old girls bike with one on the back of her bike down Feetsstraat, which is not a slow street. It's busy, it's got a trolley, it's got 2 lanes of traffic, it's got people everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just to see kids being able to have that kind of freedom is mind-blowing.
And we're
gonna head into the city.
We're rolling on. We're actually in Vondelpark, and we're just kind of rolling through the city here and
the most beautiful
and
part.
Enjoying it. One of the neat things that I love about Amsterdam is the fact that many of the parks, whether it's Vondelpark, which we're in now, Beatrix Park, Rembrandt Park, all these parks and chain of parks, because they're all interconnected, obviously, with bicycle infrastructure. But all of them have what we're on right now, which is an ultra wide paved surface, which makes it a relaxing, car-free commute experience or opportunity. Yeah. And we just had, a blaring siren, go through on the street up above. We totally have a protected bike lane that we could be on those major streets up there. But would you rather be up there or here?
Yeah.
So.
And oh my God, just the people watching. The people watching is just the best.
Yeah.
And I love seeing people like sitting on benches. Like, I always think that a place must be lovely and romantic and worth enjoying if people are sitting on benches enjoying it. Because you often see in the US, a bench staring at a road and there's not even like a tree over it or anything. But here, I think too, people get so little sunshine that when the sun does come out, like right now, like people are out everywhere.
Like this. Let's swing the camera around and you look and you just see people on the grass over there.
We've seen people at the bistro by our house who pull the chairs to the other side of the street to sit in the sun while they drink their cocktails.
Yes.
And everyone just like gets it. Like, the sun's out, let's go for it.
Let's do it. It's
Take
time.
the bikinis to the park. We have an hour.
Yes, exactly. And this is now our entrance into the city, and so you see that you have this wonderful bike entrance into.
We've got our red
city.
bike lights, so.
And we get to wait. So how long have you been in the city now?
I think about 3 weeks total.
Okay.
Not counting my foray back to Dallas for work and trip to Ghent for the European Cycling Federation's Velo Conference. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And then a week of COVID, because it's still around. So here we are, back in the city.
Recovery, yeah. So getting around the city, obviously you now have your replacement bike. Your first bike was stolen. So getting around the city, how's it been so far? Your explorations?
Oh my God, so easy.
Yeah.
I basically walk everywhere.
Okay.
We have everything we need in our neighborhood. Over 30 restaurants from countries all over the world. We haven't even explored all of the restaurants near our house within a 10-minute walk. I mean, it's just really incredible. I'm a health nut, so I found like the healthy grocery store with all the organic stuff and like the massage parlor and like, oh my God, I can't believe I have everything I need.
Yeah.
It's such a complete neighborhood. Like, I don't know, I tell Ed that I get in kind of snail mode when I go into new places.
Yeah.
And I want to just really become familiar with my new environment.
Yeah.
And, kind of nest and build my little safe zone before I venture out into the world. And I feel like I'm just starting to get to know our neighborhood intimately enough that I'm excited to go out and explore the rest of the city.
Yeah.
But then when I do, oh my God, I find things like this. Like, what are we doing? We're biking through like a plaza.
Yeah.
And it's like bikes only.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
And then we're back on the road.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hang her right here.
Ooh, a little shared street.
So we're on one of the shared spaces that the Dutch do so well, which is a Feetsstraat, or a bicycle priority street. And so you'll notice that the symbol on the ground says auto te gast, which means the auto is the guest. And so it sends a clear message to the driver that in this 30 kilometer per hour zone, maximum speed, that is paved in red asphalt, super smooth red asphalt, that they are to stay behind the person on the bike. They're not supposed to pass them. And so again, you'll see this symbol right here.
Look at this floating little
auto te gast.
trolley stop also, this floating trolley stop.
Oh
my God, in this roundabout.
And this is just a kind of a little one. We're gonna flow right straight through it. But yeah, that's the, oh yeah, and by the way, there's the Rijksmuseum.
Oh yeah.
Have you ridden through the Rijksmuseum yet?
No.
Okay, we'll
we
circle
just got
back
our
around.
museum passes.
We'll circle back around and ride through it because has a whole story to it as well.
Ooh. Thank you for giving me the tour of my new city.
Yeah, you're welcome. I spend a lot of time here on the streets of Amsterdam and a lot of time filming here. But you'll soon know it better than I will because you're going to explore.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so you're still doing a little bit of work in the Dallas area and in North America. And we were having a conversation at breakfast or lunch or whatever we want to call that about the different street typologies that the Dutch use. And so as you'll see, we've transitioned to another type of just kind of a red bike lane away from that Feetsstraat that we were on earlier. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting, all the different shared street combinations.
I'm actually really thankful now that I've got this one client. I'm working on the Dallas Bike Plan, and I would be obsessing over this stuff anyways, but now I'm
We'll turn right here.
Intimately obsessed about so many of the questions that we're sorting through with this bike plan. Yesterday we had a really fascinating conversation with a nonprofit activist group that's helping the city complete their own, trail system that they've imagined. And we were talking about how we want to message this bike plan. And I think it's just like perfectly well timed for what, I'm experiencing here in this city and then trying to translate that back to Dallas. And so many conversations that we've had with people in the neighborhood, like, well, why do we need a design for 11-year-olds? There aren't any 11-year-olds in this neighborhood.
Yeah, we'll turn right here.
Funny enough, the conversation ended with Well, there are a lot of drunk 21-year-olds that are probably going to be biking around, and they probably have about the same level of ability.
We're going to turn right here, so we'll get into the flow of this traffic, and it looks like there's construction over there, so we'll see how they handle construction and construction diversions,
So
and all
well.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mind-blowingly well. I mean, I
Mind-blowingly
keep
well.
saying to my clients, you get what you prioritize.
Yeah.
You get what you emphasize.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what happens with the construction.
Oh, this is going to be so beautiful when they finish it.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that Amsterdam does really well is continue to iterate and innovate on new ideas and new ways that they can make their streets safer.
Yeah.
That's the primary reason I'm so excited about this protest this afternoon, to just see what the messaging is. Like they have such an amazing city, like what are they complaining about? But also there's always an opportunity to be up in your game and really making a city, in every single little corner a better place for people to live.
Yeah.
Of all ages and all needs. Especially with the density of Amsterdam, you've got to provide the kinds of spaces they're talking about, playgrounds, and this will be really interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, we'll be testing your comprehension of Dutch, I'm sure, because the entire protest will likely be in Dutch.
That is my next priority, to really dig in and learn Dutch.
Yeah. And by the way, that's a really good point, is that if one is going to spend any amount of time here in the Netherlands, it really does behoove one to learn the Dutch language, because in our world, in urbanism and active mobility, everything is done in Dutch. So transportation officials and folks that come over from other countries, they quickly need to bone up on Dutch because it's all done in Dutch.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised though. I haven't really delved into the grammar yet, but I think it's really, there's a lot of words that are similar to English, kind of that Latin root.
Yeah.
And then also like the Germanic roots of a lot of words. It's not too difficult to infer.
Not too bad. So we're going to queue up here because we're going to go that way.
Okay.
And we're going to ride right through the Rijksmuseum.
That's where we navigated back to. I see your plan. I've heard about this little paseo under the building.
Get ready. We're going to go just as soon as they get there. Okay, here we go. And so the reason why I was looking back is I wanted to, because of our positioning, we were so far ahead that we couldn't see the bike signal. So I was looking back to make sure that I saw when the other people on bikes started accelerating.
Right, yeah, we're in front of the signal.
We were in front of the signal.
It took us a while to figure out that the signal is actually right next to you, not across the street from you, which is so much more intuitive.
Yes, near side signal instead of across the intersection.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, this plaza.
Yes. Glance behind you too.
Epic.
That's what you just rode through. We'll pull off to a stop up here, straight ahead. So you can really take it in behind you, what you just rode through.
Yes.
So yeah, this is the world famous Rijksmuseum, and we just rode a bike through the Rijksmuseum. The Rijksmuseum as an entity has several times over past decades tried to eliminate the bikes from rolling through it. The museum doesn't really like having bikes roll through its museum, but it is a critical connector route. And so many people who live on this side and need to get to that side, the alternate routes are very, very inconvenient, and ends up sending you a long ways around. And so there's like literally decades and decades of precedent of this being a critical path.
Wow.
And so, so you end up with a pedestrian and bike pass through, that portion of the Rijksmuseum, and it's pretty cool because you can't every day. You can't say that on any given day that you can ride through one of the most famous museums in the world.
For sure.
So,
yeah, that's really wild. And now we're on this beautiful plaza with cafes and people are standing around everywhere.
Yes.
It's definitely the kind of gathering place that you want to create in a city that's for people.
Absolutely.
In front of one of the most famous museums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
So,
There you go.
where to next?
We're
I wonder what
obviously
this is
working
gonna be.
on this right now. I'm not sure what's going on there. Even on the other side, that space over there on the other side of the museum has been known as like a critical public gathering space too. So both sides of the museum were critical. Sure.
We've got 30 minutes
Yeah.
to
Shall
see
we
how
just-
lost we can get.
Yeah. You choose.
Eeny, meeny,
Eeny,
miny, mo.
Okay. Here we go. Rolling this way.
All right.
Oh, good. I want to make sure that you have a bell. You do.
Oh, it's such a good bell.
It's a good one. Better than
Grippy
my
on my
little
thumb.
ding.
Oh my God, these tram
So
bus
tram,
lane streets.
bus, and cars, and then the bike lane.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
obsessed.
Oh yeah.
I got to get some stats
Yeah.
on the number of
Yeah.
cars and people that navigate these streets.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a trolley next to us. I'll let you go first. Woo! That's close. Wow, everyone queued up here at this little intersection. Oh, we're here
Yeah.
back at Vondel Park.
Yeah.
Ah. Okay, so we should definitely like cross and circle back and go the opposite direction since we've already
Okay.
been.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
cross. I
Okay.
think right
You
now
ready?
is the perfect time
Let's
to
do
do
it.
that. Oh yeah.
Let's do a U-turn right around in front of these buses. I want to show you a street.
Okay.
So right up on this ramp, and then we'll go back around.
Oh great.
So what I wanted to show you here, Amanda, is that we're just on that really, really busy street there, rolling past these buses. We got tram lines right there. But then I look down this side street and I'm like, oh, we got to go check this out.
Oh,
because
yeah.
this is one of the greatest things about the Netherlands is around every corner is a quiet residential street. And this one's particularly impressive because of the tree canopy.
Yeah.
And so
And
you
the
see the line
architecture.
of trees and the architecture. And yes, there's plenty of car parking here. And you know, that's a part of it. And there's even sometimes rude drivers. But for the most part, because of the texture and the context of these streets, these are all shared spaces and these are all slow streets. And so the speed limit on all of these streets is 30 kilometers per hour. And so what we miss in North America is we don't even look at quiet residential streets like this as being part of an active mobility network, whereas the Dutch definitely consider this, because anybody who like lives in this area would know that this is a much more pleasant environment than on the major street with all of the traffic and all of the trams and all the noise.
Oh my God, it sounds like we're coming up on a school.
And it's a 15 kilometer per hour zone. And we're actually going to see some parents with cars too.
I think school just let out.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing,
yeah.
isn't it?
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is this street? It's got a playground. Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is
This
an
is
example
amazing.
of a school street. So this would have been flow-through traffic before, and then they were able to close it down, and it becomes like an extension. See how this would have been a street going right straight through, and now that is part of a playground that has, taken place.
Which is so necessary when school lets out and there are kids at this age running about everywhere.
Yeah.
You just want a safe environment so that kids who will run about no matter what are in a safe place, so they can, oh God, and they even put the coolest playgrounds like in the middle of this former street. That like how cool.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep going down the street. Oh. Also, I'm obsessed with these things. Oh my goodness.
So you just saw a school street zone and everything. And we also saw some interesting behavior of some drivers that were insisting on, picking up their kids from school there. So they have some of the same idiotic behaviors that parents in North America have, but the context is much different. Super, super slow street going through, and then they also closed off and created a school street installation with transforming what previously was motor vehicle travel through lanes into playgrounds. Additional
and they just
playgrounds.
took, 2 little blocks on either side of this through street, but adding playgrounds and putting the location of these right at the door of these primary schools. Kids are going to run about no matter what. Might as well make it a safe place for them. Of course. It's just this. Also, this is my favorite thing that I found in Amsterdam, where the street ends and you as a driver clearly know that you are the guest in the space, that it is paved, it is level, and then you get back to the road. It just blows my mind that they're everywhere. And this one seems pretty new too. Yeah,
so this would have been a retrofit, and so what we're seeing here is a continuous level sidewalk and continuous level of the bike lane. And to your point, yes, you're as a motor vehicle driver, you're coming up onto the same level as people walking and biking, and then you're going into a new realm, which is this quiet residential street, also paved in bricks. The Dutch call them clinkers. And so it sends a different message to the drivers that you're going into not a realm for you. It's not motor vehicle, realm. It's actually people space. And so the continuous level of the sidewalks and of the bike paths send a clear message of priority. You're up elevated. You're on a higher plane.
I feel like if the road can make you as a car driver say, am I supposed to be here? Then we've done the right thing. Let me put on my brakes and carefully observe what's going on everywhere to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Good, we've done our job. You're carefully observing, you're going slow.
In the words of a famous Dutch traffic person from way back when, the late great Hans Monderman, if you as a driver feel like you're in sort of uncomfortable and you're in like a dangerous spot, then you'll slow down. And so he definitely wanted the drivers to feel uncomfortable and therefore slow down.
You can see that at work everywhere here. That intention, that priority, that focus on safety and slowing the cars. It's just everywhere. It's just really mind-blowing.
Yeah. And that's not to say that motor vehicles are banned. I mean, we see plenty of motor vehicles. This is an incredibly busy street right here. And we see that we're at a mid-block crossing, and we see, this mom with her kids are, waiting to get across. It's a pretty major, mid-block crossing intersection, but the cars are stopped anyways, and so they're able to get across the street. So it's a pretty complex and chaotic scene, but it still works well. One reason why it all works well, low motor vehicle speeds.
And I've noticed too, often when you have this type of a cross, you've got a speed bump right before it. And so the cars are alerted, like, wake up, put your phone down, whatever, pay attention.
Swing over there and get that in film. There it is. That's the speed hump.
And the incredible thing is, as a pedestrian or a cyclist, knowing that the cars are going slow enough that you can make eye contact with someone as they're approaching.
Yep.
You can notice that they've slowed down 1 mile an hour as they start putting on their brakes, that you have the priority and you're not in a dangerous situation. Like, that feeling blew my mind when we first moved here. Like, suddenly I felt like I wasn't a second-class citizen, that like I had the right to be here and people were going to stop for me. Like, oh my God. That in itself, I keep telling people, like, the most amazing thing about Amsterdam, I feel like, is that when you're in the US, like, I would say, like, I've never even noticed all of the stress that we carry with us because we are in this car-centric environment, like the parking and the highways and the, you know, just like having to be a driver and navigating through the world is a lot of work.
Right.
And then here, feeling like I can just walk across the street, I can walk 5 minutes to get a coffee. Oh my God, my neighborhood's so amazing. I can walk to everything I need in 10 minutes. And to be able to do that and not feel like a second-class citizen, like, I feel like there was this invisible cloak of weight that has been lifted, and I'm just like happy.
Yeah.
I'm just like unexplainably happy.
Yeah.
And it's like the city makes you happy.
Imagine that.
It's really incredible.
Imagine that. Okay, well, let's make you even happier. Let's keep riding.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, the Kinder bus.
Okay, we didn't get very far because now I want to talk about this street.
Oh, yeah.
Two things I want to point out here on this street.
Should we get out of the bike lane, I
is
guess?
our little Contraflow bike lane.
Oh,
So this is like a
didn't even
little
notice that.
subtle little thing that you'll notice is that many streets in the Netherlands are one way for motor vehicles, but for people on bikes, you can almost always go both directions. And sometimes it's even prioritized with a little tiny painted bike lane. And so you have a situation where, again, because of the slow motor vehicle travel speeds, again, this is a 30 kilometer per hour zone, so you have people driving just under 20 miles per hour. This becomes an all ages and abilities route. And you'll see we've got kids, we've got parents with little kids. They're gonna feel completely comfortable coming down this route, even though there's no infrastructure per se, other than paint. And again, paint is not protection.
Yeah.
And the whole point is, that's what we're saying, is that we do have a situation here where people will share space with multiple different modes of mobility, whether you're in a car, whether you're in a micro car like this, or whether you're on a motor scooter or a kid riding a bike, etc. Pretty amazing.
I love that the paint really just serves the purpose of reminding the cars to make space.
Yeah.
And telling the cyclists and microcar drivers where to go.
Yeah. Well, and what you'll see is this is a little bit of an older interpretation and installation. You'll see this asphalt, I guarantee you, within the next couple of years, this will be torn up and replaced with clinkers, because it sends a clearer message that this is not automobile zone. When it's black asphalt like this, that sends a message to most drivers: this is my space, this is my domain. And that's when you need the paint, and that's when you need stuff happening. When you just turn the corner and you find yourself in a street that is all red brick, all clinkers, it sends a much clearer message to the drivers that you are now the guest.
You know what?
You are not prioritized.
The other thing that this city has really made me think a lot about being here is the strong towns argument of the economics of a city with this kind of density around it, that suddenly your return on property taxes and sales taxes, because you've got a lot of cafes and stuff, ends up so much higher per block of infrastructure that you need to provide for your residents. So you end up with a very wealthy city. which is probably the reason why they've got the funding to do these kinds of things. Like replacing a street like this with bricks is very expensive.
Yep.
I also learned recently that the urban planning department of the city has funding available for different neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And gives each neighborhood the opportunity, sends them surveys, mm-hmm. and asks them what they would want to prioritize that money towards.
Yep.
Do they want, brick-lined streets? We get on our little street, a street sweeper mm-hmm. comes every once a week or so.
Yep.
And like the other day, they literally had 3 guys sweeping all of the leaves away from the parked cars, right. so that the little street sweeper could come and pick
yep.
up all the leaves,
yep.
because we'd have a storm and
yep.
there were leaves everywhere.
Yes.
And I was just like somebody's
yes.
paying for this?
Yeah.
Like it just really elevates the city if you've got the funding to do this kind of stuff, and it's the land use component. It's
yeah.
the density that really allows that.
Yeah.
And also their streets are so small. Like
yeah.
their cars are small, their streets are small, the delivery vans are small. Like it helps that this is, a couple 100-year-old city. Of course, they built this before cars were invented. In many cities like Europe, cars had to squeeze into the available space, and so the cars are smaller.
Right.
But I think all of that is so different from the way that we think about infrastructure in the US. And I think
yeah.
if you shift your priorities to a more economically stable,
yeah.
sustainable city, you end up with something like this. I don't know if
yeah.
this is why it was designed like that, but I have a feeling there might have been something to that.
Yeah, yeah. We're also, interestingly, posing in front of another fascinating little aspect of the Netherlands
yes.
and the cities, the trash. And so we have our recycling bins and our trash bins right here. And again, as you mentioned, this is a relatively small little street,
yeah.
but it's of plenty of size for the truck that needs to pick these mm-hmm. up, and it reaches in, picks them up, raises them up, and then doop, drops it in.
Oh my God, I watched the
it's
full
amazing.
10-minute process of
yes.
this, and I was so impressed because it was so civilized,
yep.
because at multiple points in the process, they just wash everything.
Yes.
It's just soap and water, high pressure soap and water.
Yep.
They rinse the inside. Once it's dropped everything, all
yeah.
the contents into the truck,
yeah.
they rinse the inside of the truck,
yeah.
then they scrape the bottom
yeah.
of the container,
yeah.
and then rinse the tool that they've used to scrape. I mean, it's just it's so civilized.
Yeah.
And then at the end, once it's been placed back in the ground and everything is clean, the truck is clean, the new container is clean, then they power wash the sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're just
yeah.
so instead of having a bunch of, trash cans willy-nilly all over the street
right.
and having to spend, an hour going to each one and dumping it, and then, the next one and dumping it, it's
yeah.
a 10-minute process and you're done.
Yeah.
And because of the land use and density like we were talking about, it's really easy to just walk out of your apartment, I don't know, once, twice a week.
Yeah.
And just dump as much garbage as you have. I mean, our paper recycle is not as convenient as our garbage. We've
yeah.
got glass recycle next to our garbage, so that's super convenient. And then, we have to walk a block and a half to put
yeah.
our paper
yeah.
recycle out.
You
so we
needed
don't
those
do that
extra
very
steps
often.
anyways.
We pass the paper recycle 20 times a week, so it's not a real inconvenience. Yeah, so it's so civilized, but yeah, once you've got the land use and the density, yeah. and you're able to layer so much more onto a city and make
yeah.
it function so much easier
yeah.
and more efficient. And
now earlier you mentioned the expense of replacing this asphalt with the red bricks, the clinkers, and yes, the initial upfront cost of the labor of doing that is a little bit more expensive. The long-term livelihood of it, and the fact that it is so incredibly modular, and so mm-hmm. if you ever need to do any repair work underneath, get to utilities, it's
yeah.
so much easier and much more functional to be able to dig up those clinkers and access what you need to access and then repair it. Plus, it's easy to repair them if there's any kind of damage to the roadbed. Whereas on stuff like this, it ends up getting patched. It gets patched willy-nilly. It doesn't
yeah.
really work well. And so the long-term viability on the return on investment is much better with the bricks in the long run.
What I hear from a lot of, I guess, transportation departments about that type of installation in the US is typically we are moving to stamped concrete because it's cheaper, it's quicker, it's easier. And I think the one thing that really makes it cheaper and easier and quicker to do this instead is that you've got the staff people.
Yes.
There are so few quality craftsmen, I feel like, in the US that we're losing touch with that craftsmanship. But I mean, I see these people employed everywhere all over the Netherlands.
Yes.
They have so many projects to do, like everywhere. They're laying these beautiful new sidewalks.
Yeah.
We just passed by construction where they were laying new beautiful sidewalks for people, and they're doing these, you know, different types of pavers.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to differentiate between different types of uses in your public realm with different colored and sized pavers that have different textures to them. I mean, it really just opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
Yeah, in fact, if they wanted to do this particular street and decided not to do it all just one solid red brick on this, they could actually still retain like the Contraflow lane, and instead of paint, what they would do is what you see just a little bit right over there, see the white bricks? And so the white bricks are integrated in on that little parking spot right there. And so that's what they would actually do, is create that line with white bricks in the sea of red bricks. And so, like you said, differentiating with different color pavers is another way that they're doing it. Just brilliant.
You're not going to have to update that paint later. I mean, that's a permanent, different colored paver.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
this is really, it
that.
is more expensive. It is more of an investment, but it's a long-term investment
Exactly.
in a city that's going to reap that. In a city where they've seen a couple hundred years of investments, they know the quality and the importance of making real investments that are going to last. They don't have to maintain and continue to spend money on.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a beautiful building.
Wow, it's just a corner. It's just a corner building. It's just round because it could be. Oh, I really love the lights here, the way they string them across the street so there's not an extra post. I feel like that's one complaint I hear a lot from transportation departments is like, we don't want any more signage, we don't want to clutter things. And you brought up a really good point earlier. You don't have stop signs here.
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed that. Talk about removing signage and clutter.
Yeah.
Let's just remove the stop signs and make streets where people slow down and pay attention to one another.
Yeah, and navigate and figure it out.
Ooh, let's go right here.
Yeah.
Avoid this little traffic jam.
In fact, when we get to this raised little crossing right here, an intersection, another great example of what we were talking about, using the white colored bricks to differentiate. And so you have that raised intersection.
Oh, I know where we are.
Boom.
Oh, I've never been on this street.
Yeah.
We must be right next to Vondel Park now.
Sure feels like it.
Oh my God, this building is so much. So much.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. It's beautiful. Holy moly.
Little carriage
Look
house.
Look at the tile work right there.
Yeah.
The faces. And then you turn the corner and you see this, and this is another great example of how do you traffic calm streets? Well, one is you make sure that the sight line isn't a wide open space. And so what we have here in front of us is a little plaza in the middle of the street. You want to slow cars down? Well, then don't make it look and feel like it's a raceway.
P.S. Get ready to slow down.
Yeah.
And here we have all
And
this
then we're
cafe
back at the
seating
big
and
street
bike parting.
again. Oh, and look at this. You know, you swing around. And in addition to like this little green, which they're trying to put a lot more green into the cities, you also have a delightful, outdoor cafe experience. But this is really important to know, is that the Dutch don't do outdoor cafes. They're not Italians.
Really?
Oops. There's an awful lot of Italians here.
We really just want to sit in the sun when it's sunny, that's all. I always wonder what makes this painted, visually separated bike lane work so well on this busy street. And maybe it's just that although there's a lot of cars, they're not going fast.
Yeah, it's really about speed. I think at the end of the day, it's really about speed. In reality, if you really want to have a thriving city, it's both fixing for speed and volume. And once you get to a critical mass of where more people feel comfortable cycling as a first choice, then you start getting the positive feedback loop and the flywheel effect, and then you start getting rid of the cars. But at some point in time, you have to start putting in the friction for driving. You know, you have to put in the congestion pricing. You have to put in, you know, the removal of all the free parking.
This guy's trying to go right.
You have to make it very, very difficult for people like that to be driving a combustion engine vehicle into the dense city center area.
And that driver was very aware that they were waiting for a break in the cyclists. They weren't just going to go and make us stop.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Did I go the right way?
Yeah, you're good.
Feels like we're in the city center now.
Yeah. So this is a fun street. So we're flowing with traffic here, and then there is a Contraflow bike lane, but it's hedge separated, which is super cool. Brand new.
Oh.
Brand new Feetsstraat. You want to have your mind blown again? So the streets that, you know, have the Feetsstraat symbol on it. And again, the differentiation between like this street that's all red brick as well, and the side streets that are paved in brick. They're typically call those local access roads, the ETWs. But the Feetsstraat as a typology is actually not even a legal construct. It's not in any manual anywhere in official state documents, traffic manuals. Whereas where we were just at in Belgium, it's an official street. They've adopted it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
In sort of like their version of the MUTCD. The
Specifies.
In Belgium it exists, in the Netherlands it doesn't even exist.
They just do it.
They just do it. So some cities are much more conservative and won't actually use the signs and won't use the markings on the road for the Feetsstraat, even though they'll build essentially what it is, they won't sign it. Because it's not a legal thing, so they won't do anything that's not legal.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Cities like this make me just hum classical music. I just like can't help it. I'm just like.
Oh yeah, there they are. They're all protesting right on the... Looks like we can get across on the bridge over here.
Look at this little contra bike lane.
Yeah. It's one of the things that in North America we just don't have this comprehension of how much of the Dutch network is this type of shared space.
Oh.
Okay, this is the protest.
Wondering if the kids are out there.
Okay, let's cross here. So we don't have the right of way?
We don't, but if they give it to us,
Yay. We'll go left
we
here.
take it. So what's it been like navigating in Amsterdam on a bike?
A breeze. It's
Yeah.
such a breeze.
Yeah.
It's so easy to know where you go, where everyone else is headed.
Yeah.
People are using their hand signals while they're biking. The bike areas are clearly designated.
Yeah.
It's easy to stay out of the tram tracks, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part is knowing where you're headed.
Yeah.
And we are headed straight, kind of around the corner.
And then of course we have our little bike signal there. We see that we just missed the light, so we have a countdown, 50 seconds. This is one of those streets that you were wanting to see, is like, here's a car priority street. You know, 4 lanes, this is like a strode.
Oh my God. It didn't even register.
Yeah.
This is a
They're here, yeah.
high traffic,
Yeah.
high speed road, because
Yeah.
it feels so safe having this completely separated, dedicated, safe enough for all ages and abilities.
Yeah. And we've got 20 seconds till our countdown, and it lets us know that we're about to get moving. And I think that's another important part.
I love the
point.
height of that too. That's really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Yeah.
And here we go, headed into our own separated little cycle track through the
Yep.
pedestrian area.
Here we go.
John, you've got a butterfly on your back. Let's see if we can cross the road here.
Okay.
Oh, oh. God, even that was so seamless. I was like, where do we go? Where do we go? Right here. It's right in front of you. Olive trees.
Yeah,
Okay, let me just make sure we're headed the right way. I think we're going right here.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, brand new. Woohoo!
All right.
Brand spanking new red
So
asphalt.
Beautiful.
So just like in Austin, Texas, where we are also doing red concrete, they do red asphalt.
I think
And
we're
so,
here.
So this is a pigment. Yeah, there it is. It's a pigment that's actually mixed in with the asphalt. So it's not paint. It's actually, if you were to chisel down in there, that's all red in there. And so it's mixed into the asphalt mix.
Low maintenance.
Low maintenance. It'll fade, but it doesn't chip away and be gone.
And it doesn't need to be repainted.
And it doesn't need to be
Wow.
repainted. Yeah.
Oh, look at their cute little gutters they have too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in fact, let's talk a little bit about that. There's bike parking right there. We're going to lock our
yeah,
bikes right
of
there.
course.
But if you take a look at this, look at the construction. This, see how these are like, that's like a Lego piece. And so these are integrated curbs. And so they're just put together like boom, 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 and then affixed in, and then you've got your pavers here, and then you have your bicycle parking anchored down, literally hundreds of bikes here, and then a little line of brick here, and then the stormwater management right there as well. It's all integrated. This is all brand new, and so this will most likely get planted into wildflowers, just like you see over there.
Yes.
And so a lot of the cities in the Netherlands right now are doing their best to try to get rid of lawns and things that need to be maintained. And so they'll just spread a whole bunch of wildflower seeds in here, and then this becomes part of their stormwater mitigation process and climate adaptive steps.
Some cities
And
would
so-
say there's a bunch of weeds over there. This is kind of messy.
Yeah.
But there's something really lovely about the wildness
Yeah.
of something
They're
like
trying
that.
to bring
in the middle.
pollinators back. I mean, you said
In the
I
middle
had a
of such a-
butterfly on my back earlier. And so they're trying to bring butterflies and pollinators back in. And so having
Yes.
wildflowers, right now in Utrecht, it's just extraordinary, the beautiful wildflowers in these areas. And it's all part of their active mobility infrastructure integrated with the automobile infrastructure. They want to see that stormwater be able to go into bioswales like this with storm, rain gardens.
Yes.
To be able to do that. It's all part of climate adaptation that
And
they're
in
trying
this
to
kind
work
of an
on.
environment, there's so much hardscape
Yep.
that you've really got to work hard to find these opportunities.
Yep.
Like, it's really impressive. Like, they created this new bike lane area
Yep.
and intentionally set aside a huge area to be wildscape.
And it helps us out too, as we're biking and walking in this area and parking our bikes, to be physically removed from the higher speed motor vehicle traffic. This is something that we can do easily in North America, and you look at the scale of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
This is all very, very, this is on the scale that we can understand in the United States and in North America.
And yet, though it is high traffic count, higher speeds than we've been seeing on a lot of other roads, it is still 2 lanes of cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many motor vehicles can be carried in an environment like this when, you're you're basically not prioritizing all of their movements. You know, you're prioritizing a very few number of movements, and then you're giving options to active mobility.
But there aren't a lot of crosswalks for pedestrians. You basically
Not
got
here,
this light
yeah,
up
yeah.
here. I mean, they're managing
Yeah.
the interaction of the
Yeah.
different modes and keeping them very separate in this.
You'll also
segment.
notice too that over here, where this car is coming out, that is actually a Feetsstraat over there.
Oh, I see.
And so you do see some cars parked across the way. So it's a little bit of a complex situation on that side of the street. And then the cars have to exit here, and then that becomes a protected bike lane down by that 30-km/h sign.
So creative. Oh, here's the bike that stayed
Yep,
on the
they stay
newly
on
formed
that.
bike
Yep.
lane.
It's pretty brilliant.
Wow.
So Amanda, that was pretty fun. Your first maiden voyage on your new bike.
It's got
With-
straps. It holds
got
my
your
water
straps.
bottle.
Yeah.
All the things I need.
Yay.
Got all my locks.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the Active Towns channel again. Thank you for joining me, and actually thank you for taking me along with your new bike.
Thank you for giving me a tour of my new hometown. I'm so excited to explore this city some more. Thanks for the intro.
Yay, cool. Boom. Yes.
And again, sending a huge thank you out to all my Active Towns ambassadors supporting the channel on Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, YouTube Super Thanks, as well as making contributions to the nonprofit and purchasing things from the Active Towns store. Every little bit adds up, and it's much appreciated. Thank you all so much.